Scitec Nutrition. Premium quality products. State-of-the-art look. Uncompromised ingredient quality. Our products work and taste good. www.scitecnutrition.com.
Welcome back to Live with RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia, sponsored by Scitec Nutrition. Visit scitecnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and tonight's guest is IFBB Pro. They call him the Prodigy. Third place finish at last weekend's Arnold Asia. He's been here before. He'll be back again. Welcome, Brandon Curry.
What's up, guys?
I like that shirt. That's a cool Scitec shirt.
Yeah, its colors look good on me, so I decided to make it pop my skin pop.
You look like Superman in that shirt.
Oh, well, thank you. You never know.
There you go. You know, people have called you the Superman of bodybuilding. People have, talked about you. The reason they called you the Prodigy is because from the minute you turned pro, and I remember that show, that USA Championship where you narrowly defeated Mike Liberatore there, and you won that USA Championship. And I remember actually the year before that when really no one knew who you were, and you really startled the bodybuilding world. People have been saying you're the next coming of the great shape and structure guys. How did you feel about that title that was kind of imbued upon you from the beginning?
It was great for publicity-wise, get my name out there. But, I like to tell people, don't believe the hype. I'm just a regular guy, a regular bodybuilder. I got to work just like everybody else.
Well, you do have to work like everyone else, but you do have a gifted structure. You have a beautiful physique. You have small waist. You have that throwback from the 90s like look that we all love to see on stage. But, the knock against you has been the conditioning. We haven't seen Brandon Curry bring the kind of conditioning that's going to blow away lineups. Why do you think it is that you haven't been able to really peak your body the way, consistently at least? You've hit a couple of good shows, but why can't you consistently bring that conditioning in that we're used to seeing on some of these other competitors?
Well, we say my life or career-wise hasn't been consistent in general. I've worked with several different coaches. Hadn't really been able to find a particular system for myself. So, that's what my mission is currently, taking things into kind of my own hands, and really, really just learn what I really need to know, without without things always changing, because I've dealt with coaches, things continually change. And when I thought we had a particular formula that may have been working at one point, but I know, so this is what I took this year out to try to really do for myself and my career. And, I know with age, some things will definitely, it's like, I'm getting too old for this, inconsistency. So it's like, I got to do me and figure it out and try to capitally come. It's just about getting it right, getting my timing right, and getting the complete package. I brought up some weak body parts, so I've been able to do that. Now it's just time to capitalize on what I bring to the stage conditioning-wise. So, I'm just the biggest critic of myself as anybody else. So, I know what needs to be done, and, I'm on a mission to do it,
I mean, because I don't think you have any weak body parts. I think you're very well balanced. You should be, top 3 or 4 at the Olympia in my mind. I got to ask you a question. You got to ask me. I'm going to ask you. I want an honest answer. Do you cheat on your diet?
I knew you're going to ask me that. Of course I cheat on my diet. No, I'm just kidding. No, really, I'm not really a food person. I'll be honest with you. I used to be in my younger days, but ever since I've gotten a little older, man, I just don't have the sweet tooth and stuff that I normally have. I think that's why I was able to eat really, really low carb this year because, I'm not, as long as I'm eating, I'm fine. I'm pretty boring when it comes to food. So I got kids and stuff, so I've been desensitized to a lot of the treats and the stuff that's always been around me over the years. So it's not really about, me just thinking dieting sucks and I want to eat everything because I'm not really a big eater at all. Eating is a job for me. So,
are you just one of these guys that your body just holds weight and doesn't like to get rid of it? I mean, I experienced this working with Akeem Williams. He grows like a monster in the off season, and then when it comes down to contest prep, the last couple of weeks is very hard for him, and he has to almost starve himself to get in shape.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those. I think I'm one of those guys that genetically I've always been fairly lean, and and when it comes to just getting and pushing to extreme leanness, my body reaches a point to where it just doesn't want to push into extreme leanness, and I could continue to drop the calories and continue to do more cardio, and it just is stubborn in that way. So I think when it comes down to getting extremely conditioned, that's when I have a problem, because I walk around probably leaner than a lot of guys most of the year anyway. But when it comes to getting to the extreme conditioning, then that's where the problem lies. That's where my body gets a little stubborn. It doesn't want to fight to get to that, those extreme levels. So, it's just one of the problems, we're trying to figure out and troubleshoot. So I can relate to Akeem in that way a lot.
And, given what we just said, you still placed second at the Vancouver Pro. You just finished third at the Arnold Asia. So you're still placing in the top echelon of bodybuilders in some of the most impressive shows out there on the circuit. You also seem to have the ability you're a little more resilient in the sense that you can compete in more competitions than a lot of these guys. Some of these guys do 1-2 shows. They're so burnt out. All they do is complain. You seem to be able to hit a lot of shows. Why is that?
It's just because it's like, I guess, the discipline of the particular lifestyle, diet and stuff all the time doesn't really affect me mentally. I guess I have a high tolerance just for being able to go through the abuse routinely, and whether I succeed or not, I can take a loss, I can take a knock really easy without it affecting my mental capacity to want to, continue to go. So I just, just experience over years. I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to take experience. So I'm just going to put in the work until I figure it out. I want it more than anybody, just for me, for my family, for my career. So if I got to do a lot of shows in a year in order to continue to figure out this formula, then that's what I'm going to do. I guess I didn't do with an Olympia qualifier this year, which was awesome, which I wasn't really expecting, But now that this is happening, the season is still extended anyway, so I'll be competing for the rest of the year anyway. So it'll be more time put in, more trying to figure it out, and then eventually, I guess I'll be at that level where I can compete in 1 or 2 shows a year. But I haven't earned that status yet, so I'll continue to put my head down and continue to compete and grind.
Now, you won a show in 2013. Qualified you for the Olympia. Last year, in 2014, you only did the one show. 15, you won a show. You were at the Olympia. You probably did about 8 shows last year. This year, right? This year you're at 5 shows. Mm-hmm. You're going to be at the Olympia. You're doing the Arnold Europe and Prague show. So you got a lot more still to go. For the Olympia, how do you refocus yourself? Because the Olympia is the biggest show of the year. It's the Super Bowl. What measures have you implemented upon yourself over these next 3.5 weeks to help Brandon Curry show up at his absolute best and get what we've been wanting to see from you, which is a solid, top 8 finish,
Honestly, I've been in cruise control trying to qualify, prepare for Olympia. So you can't go full bore a whole year and expect to really last. So I had to be somewhat conservative. But coming into the Olympia, it's time to take the brakes off and just expend whatever the rest of the energy I have for the year. Really it's just a privilege to be at the Olympia. You get that backstage pass and that access. So that's always great as well. Plus you get to see what the top and the echelon, what you got to compare to, what you got to live up to. I don't come into Olympia expecting to place a certain way or whatnot. But I come into Olympia just to expect to get some looks and cause a little ruckus and, come in looking the best that I can look. That's what I want to do.
Now, Brandon, Johnny just put a video up on the screen. You can't see it, but, we're watching it right now. Of you bench pressing with a reverse grip bench for 400 pounds for reps. It looks like the most awkward, uncomfortable, biomechanically incorrect movement, but yet you're moving the weight like it's like paper. Are you a very strong guy by nature?
I've always been a very pound for pound strong guy. That's always been a reputation of mine. I was a performance athlete. I was always, I was not always the biggest guy as far as, stature and overall size, but, I always want to make an impact in sports by being one of the best performing, fastest, and strongest guys, more explosive guys. So that's just one of the things I've used. Actually, I used that exercise, reverse grip, because I was having some shoulder problems that year that wasn't allowing me to use a standard grip bench press. So I had did some things and it, suggested a reverse grip, and I started using it and I wouldn't have any more shoulder pain. I continued to use it after the shoulder pain went away because I was just getting stronger and stronger at it.
I mean, it almost looks like a branch Warren, dare I say, movement. It's a lot of strength there. Do you find that a lot of bodybuilders don't do conventional bench press anymore? You obviously are still utilizing it in your regimen. Obviously, you have one of the best chests in all bodybuilding, so it's working. Do you think that a lot of bodybuilders have abandoned the basic movements, and that's a mistake?
Yeah, I mean, you can't completely abandon the basics. Of course, if you're having problems, you got to work around those issues. But the bread and butter exercises, coming from a performance aspect, I can't let that go because that's really my foundation. Of course, I do promote and I do show a lot of people how to do specialty, alternative stuff, so they won't get bored in the gym. But that doesn't mean that I also will just tell them to eliminate all the basics. I don't have to teach the basics, but so that's where those specialty movements come in. But you never should eliminate them. I mean, some people can't use a bar. That's understandable. Dumbbells are there. But if you can bench press, man. I mean, it's bread and butter. I mean, it never, some guys have tore their body up, but that's because they don't know how to periodize training. They don't know how to structure their training or work around their certain injuries, or they don't get soft tissue work. So, this is a lot of things people do wrong, and they think the exercise is wrong.
Now, I noticed looking at your contest history that you do an awful lot of these Arnold Classics all over the place. Last year you did the Arnold Classic in the USA, Australia, Brazil, Europe. This year you're going to have hit 3 of them, I believe, after you get done with Europe. What do you like about the Arnold Classics, and why do you keep coming back to those shows?
Well, first of all, the invitation only. So that's the honor to be invited by a committee of people. They're willing to pay your way to travel, and they really take care of you at these events. They actually have to go ahead of you at these events and structure it to make sure it's going to be a good place for the athletes, and they have things available for the athletes. So they put a lot of work into these shows, and I don't mind competing in these shows because I know that we're going to be taken care of no matter where we are around the world, and work's been done. So that's one of those things that that Arnold's reputation just carries itself. So I'll continue to compete in them. I've always done well. And, I like working with the people behind the scenes. The committee's great.
Okay. Sounds reasonable. Let me ask you this question. Going into the Olympia, obviously, Kevin Levrone making the comeback at 52 years of age. What's your take on the Levrone comeback, and where do you think he's going to place?
I honestly think he's going to whoop some ass, because I don't think he'd just be coming in here and just wasting his time or coming in here just for publicity reasons. So I think he's done the work. Where he's going to place, I mean, I'm sure, I don't think the powers that be will make him place too bad out of respect. I mean, we've seen that over the years with some of the legends after they've fallen or maybe not look good on stage. So, I think they'll try to get him in the mix as much as possible, getting compared to some of the top bodies because that's what the fans want to see. Honestly, no matter really how he looks. So, I'm sure he's going to try to make the most of that situation. So I wish him the best. It's going to be just an honor to be on stage with him. Even if I get my ass handed to him, but it's still going to be an honor because it'll be cool.
It's nice to get a picture next to him on stage. It's kind of like getting to fight a legend from 20 years ago, in modern era.
Exactly. I grew up looking up to him just like everybody else, man, and to see what he can do and to see he can refresh his body and come back, man. That's just motivating in itself. That just shows you that this bodybuilding thing, you can carry it out. If you're smart about it. Like the Dexter Jacksons and whatnot of the industry.
How long do you see yourself competing?
Since I'm a pretty conservative guy. I take my time, want to be healthy, protect my body, and I got other people to live for beside myself. I expect to be doing this quite a long time as long as my body allows. God willing, of course. But it's just one of those things. I don't think it's it's more of a marathon. Bodybuilding for me is a journey of self-discovery. So no matter if I'm competing, I'd probably still be bodybuilding, living a lifestyle anyway.
That's true. Now you have kids running around the house now. I have my own son now who's almost 8 months old, and so I can relate to what you're going through. It's hard. How do you manage to balance I a dad with going to the gym and having to dedicate so much time to bodybuilding?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I guess I turned pro, fairly young, and I had my kid like pretty much a year after. So my amateur career was pretty short, and I wasn't that disciplined. I got away with a lot of things, but having to grow up at that point, having kids, having responsibility, it allowed me to be more disciplined and apply those things to bodybuilding because I had to be on schedule, having a wife and everything. So it really just had made me more responsible, and less selfish and more focused on doing things that I should be doing in the first place. So it's just working around the schedule. It's just normal to me. I've been doing it for so long. It's not a burden. I love my kids, and I like them to have a regular lifestyle. And it's not always about me, and I think that's good for me mentally.
What are did their friends come over the house yet? Are they old enough to appreciate how big the daddy is?
Well, I got my youngest he's 2 years old. So Zion, he every time he sees somebody with muscles, he always says it's daddy. So, he's like, oh, daddy, He sees a video, oh, daddy, look at daddy. Like, nah, that's not daddy, son. So they appreciate it. I got one son who could be a bodybuilder. He's muscular just naturally. He's getting into football and stuff. And another one who just takes on to the posing and stuff. So and then we got a daughter who's an athlete as well. So everybody, they're into their own things, but they understand. Daddy travels a lot, and they watch me how I eat and stuff. So it's just normal for them. I don't think they know it's any different. Their friends may come in and may make them aware of it, but most people don't know any different.
Your daughter just got off your 20,000 yourself.
Oh yeah.
I hear the peanut gallery. Your wife, Brandy, in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. She just got. I guess they all just got home from school.
Well, let me ask you this. I know that obviously we talked about bodybuilding. We talked about your role as a dad. Now you're taking on another profession as a contest promoter. We talked about this last year when we had you on here. You had one of the biggest shows in the state of Tennessee, 600 competitors. It's called the Music City Muscle Show.
Music City Muscle.
Right.
We typically break the record from year to year for the past. I guess it's been 4 years for the state of Tennessee as far as competitors, and we get a lot of new people that sign up for the MPC as well for the first time at our shows as well. So it just draws a lot of people. Me and my wife really enjoy, putting on a good show and providing the competitors something that we would like to receive as athletes. So we always have it at good venues. Last year was at TPAC. This year we'll be at the historic Grand Ole Opry House, where a lot of the legends have performed, and it'll be October 23rd this year, and we'll my wife corrected me on the 650 competitors last year.
Wow.
So it's a lot. So we're just a big show in the region, and we've been growing exponentially from year to year, just because we understand what it's like to compete, and we just like to give back and make sure we promote a good show for the athletes to compete in. Good stage, good lighting, and good production.
And it's nice that you're able to give back to the athletes, but it's also nice that you can make some money for yourself, because 650 competitors, before you open the doors, on applications alone will net you some good cash. But I mentioned this to you earlier. I said, Brandon, it's got to be very expensive to hold a show at the Grand Ole Opry House in Nashville, Tennessee. And you said it is. A lot of promoters might go to a cheaper venue. Why do you spend the money on such a noble place?
Just because it's not just about making money. The bottom line is, we want the athletes to have good experience. We want them to keep coming back. We want the brand to be recognized as a good brand. I didn't name the show after myself, but that was on purpose because, I want the brand of the show to speak for itself. I don't want people to come to the show because it's Brandon Curry's show. I want them to come to the show because they enjoy, what the Music City Muscle has brought, and continually year after year. And a lot of people still don't know my show if they don't know if it's my show until they've been there. And when they find out, they're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. We've heard a lot of good things about the show. So I let the show speak for itself by what I put into it. And as long as you put something into it, you're gonna get something out of it. So
yeah, I could respect that. I did the same thing. A lot of people told me, why don't you name your nutrition company after yourself? And I said, well, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the brand. And the brand was, Species Nutrition, that bodybuilders are another species, and so that was the way I felt about it. And the reason I set you up on the question as to why you spend the money, because I wanted you to let people know that it's the experience of what the athlete get out of the show. I mean, I remember when I would go to shows when I was first starting out, the people who gave away the best trophies, had it in the best venue, had the best guest posers. These are the shows that I remembered, even into my old age now, 48 years old. I remember those shows. You are bringing in Fred Biggie Smalls as the guest poser, and you could very well have guest posed yourself. Why is it important to bring in an entertainer like Fred?
Well, me and Fred had a good relationship. He's a good entertainer. Of course, I can guest post myself, but I feel like they've seen me enough. And Fred was available to come in, and so I decided I was going to bring him in to let people see him. But really, I want to bring him into Nashville so he can get an idea of what Nashville's about, get to see the city, probably bring his wife out. And, we're friends, so we can hang out, spend a little time together. So it's a brotherhood in this bodybuilding thing, and whenever we can help each other out, that's always a good thing as well. So of course it's about the fans. We're gonna promote a good show. My show basically runs off word of mouth anyway. I mean, we don't have to do a whole lot of advertising anymore because we just have a good reputation with this show, and people just they talk about it and they're waiting on it and they're ready to compete in it. So it just stands for itself. So I'm just proud of it, and like I said, we just want to bring quality in each way, and it's in a new venue this year. But a lot of people just want to be on the stage. They want to say they're being on the same stage as some of these music stars. Kent Music, Muscle, and these legends in the music community. So a lot of people are going to be excited about this new event or new venue.
Living in that area of Nashville, Brandon, do you encounter a lot of these music people? Do you train any of them? I mean, what's your interaction with them?
Of course, I've met a lot of the stars. I grew up in a community where some of my sisters were friends with some of the country music celebrities and whatnot. So, and a lot of them are familiar with who I am through the show, and some of them keep up with bodybuilding. So it's this community, not just of musicians as well. It's a lot of people that like Nashville and enjoy it because of the economy, and the city's really growing rapidly. So it's not what most people think when they think about Nashville. And if you come to Nashville and you see somebody in a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, it's probably a tourist.
who works harder on the show, getting it ready, you or your wife?
Oh, my wife definitely. My wife definitely. Females are typically more organizers. And, I put my foot down if something needs to be done. And because I'm stubborn and I don't budge, and I can do that kind of thing. And then, of course, I'm good with people, and I'm good with speaking and socializing and making athletes feel welcome as well. So, it's a teamwork, but I tell you, she does most of the groundwork. But she has a background in it. She's promoted expos in Hawaii and stuff as well. So,
would you guys ever consider expanding into doing more shows than just one a year?
We've already considered that, and we've just been making preparations for that and expanding. We've talked about, of course, going to Hawaii doing a state championship there. We already got a sanction for that for an event. It's just a matter of getting the proper planning. So we'll do that, and we plan on probably expanding in the South a little bit as well, going to some areas that where people kind of respect my name and respect the brand as well.
Well, sounds like you got it all together. Hopefully we can see the best Brandon Curry come Olympia time. I just want to ask you one more thing, because obviously it's glaring us right in the face. Scitec Nutrition, tell us how important it is to have a sponsor and someone who supports you on your team.
Well, Scitec is not just any sponsor. There's a lot of sponsors out there that just want to sell supplements and not interested in bodybuilding. But this brand is definitely interested in bodybuilding, as over 300 products on their product line. It's a variety of different things athletes can use, whether they're out of contest or pre-contest. So, and then they on these protein jugs here, right here, you got these barcodes you can scan, and you can get exactly what's in the batch. So everything is batch tested. You get the results of the batch test, and it's going to be whether it's 98% of what's on the label, whether it's 105% of what's on the label. You're gonna be able to see that transparency. Been out to the warehouse, man. It was impeccable, clean. Looked at all the raws, and I saw that they were from Germany and whatnot. So you're not getting a lot of the bad products, man. They really put quality into it. And anytime I communicate with anybody, they know what's going on in the sport, whether I do good or whether I do bad. They're like, or whether they have an opinion of what I should have did better or whatnot. They're gonna let me know, because they really keep their eye on the sport, which is, I can't say that every company really cares about what the athletes are doing as long as they're making money, but this company definitely cares. So I'm really happy to be a part of Scitec. It's really important for me to compete as much as I do, to have that kind of support. So, and they definitely support of bodybuilding itself, and they definitely take care of athletes wherever we go. So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, well, there's no one that supports or sponsors more athletes than Scitec Nutrition. I'll tell you that. I can't even believe the roster they have. And when I interact with them, because obviously they're sponsoring all our coverage of this year's Olympia, they know as much about the sport, about my coverage, as anyone out there. It's crazy. They know exactly how we do play-by-play and interviews and the wrap-ups, and it's like talking shop with them. It's such a breath of fresh air because most companies don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if they're involved in the company and they work with the athletes and they communicate with the people, they definitely understand what's going on. That's what I was most impressed about. Because when I go to somewhere, they start asking me about this contest, or giving their opinion on this and that, and I'm thinking, wow, I can actually talk bodybuilding with these people, and it's really awesome.
Well, Brandon, good luck over the next 3.5 weeks going into the Olympia. I hope we see the best Brandon Curry on that stage, because I think you'll shock a lot of people if you bring that level of conditioning we're all waiting to see from you with your structure and your genetic talents. Good luck.
Well, I got time, so, I'm going to be on the grind, put my head down, and just cranking it out. I ain't got nothing but time, so I'm ready to suffer on into it, and we just got a strategy. We're just trying to make it happen. So as long as I don't go overboard, you'll see me a lot better Brandon Curry on that stage.
And best of luck with the competition, the Music City, come October 23rd.
Yes, sir. October 23rd, folks, if you haven't heard. Sign-ups will be happening very, very soon. So this week we'll have everything done and set up for you guys. And everything going. So, all right.
Sounds good. All right. That will take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Scitec Nutrition. Visit scitecnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo with RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia. Saying we'll see you next time.